I'm not clickbaiting. I believe that Black Adam is the worst superhero movie. What about Madam Web? What about Batman versus Superman? What about Suicide Squad? I don't care. This one's worse. Let's talk about it. You probably have seen something from Black Adam. The bad CGI, the silly shots, or some of the flippant quotes from the studio or The Rock.
The hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
The hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Black Adam opens on narration in a flashback. It's Wakanda, and they do like a Wakanda Forever thing. I don't care. It's boring. Okay, so this kid is on a skateboard, and he pulls up on this dude who's like a colonizer terrorist, and the terrorist is like, I'm gonna totally beat up this kid with my billy club, or whatever. And then the kid just skateboards away after throwing some zingers at him, some quips. Yeah, all right. That sets a pretty okay tone, I guess, for sure. Something like that. Okay, so he's chasing him. He's holding a gun, but he doesn't shoot, even though the kid is just like skating in a straight line. And then he catches up to the kid, and he's gonna like beat him to death, I guess. So he has a line. He has like a limit. He won't shoot a kid. He'll just mercilessly beat him to death after like colonizing his country. So, complex characters. Thanks for that, Black Adam. Why is this shot like this? Why does it look like this? Why does it sound like that? Why are the actors acting like that? Why is this in the movie? You have a movie with Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Black Adam, and we're like focusing on this fucking boring Australian dude chasing some kid. I don't care. Later in the movie, the inclusion of the Justice Society starts to seem like it might be something interesting. It could be commentary on the military-industrial complex.
I didn't bring a passport.
You don't need passports. You're the Justice Society.
Helping in places only when they deem it's important.
The Justice Society? We have been living under military occupation for 27 years and never seen you before. You didn't come when Intergang invaded our country?
She actually brings up a good point in this scene. Why haven't you helped with Intergang? Our country has been struggling for years, and you were nowhere to be seen. But all of a sudden, you decide something's important, and you fly down here and start destroying our city. This is ruined by the fact that the Justice Society are right. If they don't intervene in this moment, the world will end. And the movie only gets to move forward when the characters cooperate with the Justice Society. If this was going to be actual commentary on the American military, then you would need to, like, prove them wrong, but they don't. The movie keeps bringing up, like, heavy topics like colonialism and the military, but they never want to like do anything with those because it has to keep in line with like a corporate PG-13 superhero movie. And so you don't get anything interesting. There's nothing to be said. The movie is just presenting you with ideas and it doesn't care to do anything with them. Who cares about colonialism? I want to see The Rock shoot lightning at a dude and kill people. This movie unironically feels like it should have come out in like 2011. Like it has really hardcore Green Lantern and Man of Steel energy. Oh, Man of Steel. Yeah, we gotta talk about Man of Steel. So Man of Steel and Black Adam are connected to their cores. They feature the first and now last appearance of Henry Cavill's Superman, at least until he shows up in something for like some multiverse bullshit in 5 or 10 years. But until then, this is the last like official appearance of Henry Cavill's Superman in the capacity of a connected universe. But Black Adam exists to try and revive that Henry Cavill's Superman run DCEU. At DC, there was a huge pivot away from Zack Snyder's vision for the DC movies after the public mockery that Batman vs. Superman underwent. And what followed was an inconsistent mess of movies that actually did have some hidden gems, but also some big stinkers. This era was marked by less and less financial success, though, and it got to a point where DC was desperate or just needed something that they could do kind of easily during COVID, and they released the 4-hour-long Zack Snyder director's cut of Justice League, and this was met with pretty universal praise, responding to a very loud minority of fans who were getting to a point of culthood. For so long, people said that this would never happen, that this is just kind of an unprecedented thing, that, Warner Brothers doesn't care, and then they did it, and everyone was talking about it. And even people that are bullish on Zack Snyder and those sets of movies, even some of them were kind of praising it and saying that, yeah, wow, this is actually a pretty good movie. Now, I don't agree. I think Justice League, the real Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, is horribly paced. It doesn't earn its runtime at all. And really, it has the exact same problems, minus like a few details, of the Joss Whedon version. It's just a little more coherent. And so I feel like because you can compare it to like a worse version of itself, it looks better. But I feel like if the Joss Whedon cut never existed and this 4-hour version came out in theaters, people would have hated it. So I don't agree with that, but whatever. Nonetheless, it was a great move for Warner Brothers, and it kind of re-sparked a little interest in this cinematic universe. Black Adam, to me, feels very reactive to all of this, which is weird, because if you know about the development history of Black Adam, it had been in development for like a decade. The Rock was casted in Black Adam so long ago, and it kept getting delayed or whatever was happening. The movie wasn't getting made until finally it was. And so I don't understand, like, was Black Adam just like sitting on a shelf, written, waiting for something like this to happen? The Justice Society's inclusion in this movie feels so similar to the inclusion of Wonder Woman and like the email cameos in Batman versus Superman. Because when we're introduced to the Justice Society, it's literally just like narration over like a Zoom call.
Oh, and good morning to you too.
Shove it up your ass, Carter.
Al Rothstein, connection to the original Atom Smasher. He inherited his uncle's powers.
It's like, this is Atom Smasher. His name is Al. Like, what? What are you doing? Hey, Noah Centineo. What's up, bro? This time it's worse than in Batman vs. Superman, though, for a weird reason. I actually like some of these characters. I feel like they had moments in the movie that sort of made me interested in them. And, I'm a comics fan. I like Hawkman and Dr. Fate in DC Comics, but I'm not the type of comic fan that's going to like go into a movie already happy with those portrayals, This being said, I think Aldous Hodge did an amazing job as Hawkman. Pierce Brosnan was great as Dr. Fate. And I even kind of liked Noah Centineo's Atom Smasher, albeit, they were clearly trying to do like a Deadpool thing. It sort of worked for me. There was moments there where I was kind of entertained by the little team dynamic that they had going on. But, that wasn't enough to carry this boring schlock of a movie. Imagine how much more interesting this movie would have been if there was no intergang, or at least no, hold on. What is the name of the villain from Black Adam? Sabbac. If Sabbac wasn't in this movie, imagine if Black Adam had just like killed Atom Smasher at the end of this movie or something. But, they couldn't have done that because Noah Centineo has to return for Justice League 3, Eternity Race, alongside Henry Cavill's Superman, I guess. But that's what's weird about it to me. Why not pick superheroes that you don't want to return so that Black Adam can kill them? Because then at least you're kind of positioning the Justice Society as like the bad version of the Justice League. But it's clearly they didn't want to do that because the Shazam 2 after credit scene like is trying to set up Shazam joining that team, which, that's a whole other can of worms we can get into. And obviously the Justice Society are like pretty important in comics. And so maybe if they had done that, like it would have bothered some people. But I feel like, you got to commit to something. And that's this movie's issue, is it doesn't want to commit to anything. Because I cannot imagine how The Rock or how the studio or whoever thought that this was going to warrant a revival of the Snyderverse. You have to be so delusional, bro. This movie was so boring and sauceless. And like, it had some okay action and some of the jokes were okay. Like, it's not as bad as like Suicide Squad. Like, I was being hyperbolic, but I think it's the worst superhero movie simply because its entire existence is predicated on reviving something that was already dead, and it probably needs to and should have stayed dead. I don't think that there was ever going to be enough interest in these characters coming back for Black Adam to kind of be like this. And the weird thing to me is that DC had success with an actual villain movie in Joker. Joker, for a while, was the highest grossing rated R movie. So why not make Black Adam rated R and have him killing Atom Smasher and Cyclone? Like, I'm sorry, but these characters are not marquee enough to keep them alive into a cinematic universe that doesn't exist anymore. Like, bro, do we really think that we're going to be seeing Cyclone in the upcoming Aquaman sequel, bro? No, we know that this universe is dead. So just kill him off. Make an interesting movie at the very least, but they couldn't even do that. Because for some reason, the studio really felt like this was going to do something, like this was going to leave a cultural impact beyond the stupid memes. Allegedly, the Henry Cavill post-credit scene was added in pretty late as like a big brain chess move to kind of help Rock take control of the DC universe. I haven't seen like real substantial like reasons to believe that this is true. So I do think people were being a little like hyperbolic about The Rock's ego and like the role that he had in this. But, you know, it's clear that something was going on behind the scenes of this movie that kind of led it to being what, you know, whatever it was. I do think that this movie is actually fairly close to like Man of Steel in competency, but it just presents itself with much less quality and care, which is a crazy thing to say in comparison to a Zack Snyder movie. Because for all of its faults, Man of Steel is still a movie that is trying to do something. It's trying to say something. It has an artistic vision behind it. Whereas Black Adam does not. That's the thing. This movie is not art. It is a corporate product made by a corporation and a dude begging you to have more interest in their failed cinematic universe. No. It is just slop presented to a consumer. It's like Warner Brothers is begging like dogs, like, please, we want to put Henry Cavill in another movie, guys. You gotta spend your money. The funniest part about this is that I would argue that, like, well, besides like, you know, the Robert Pattinson Batman, but like if we're talking about movies that are actually connected to the DCEU, until the James Gunn Suicide Squad, I think that Shazam was the best movie that DC has made since like what? The Dark Knight Rises. And so it's weird that that's the one specific movie you would want to alienate from this. Shazam was good. Why not just put Black Adam in Shazam 2? He's a Shazam villain. His character doesn't even make sense separated from like the Shazam character. His origin story is so directly tied to him. And the way that they do his origin story in this movie is so stupid. Like, okay, so he was a champion that Shazam had before, you know, the kid that he chooses in the Shazam movie, or no, he's not Shazam, he's the Wizard. The Wizard picked Billy in the Shazam movie, but I guess before he picked Billy, all these millennia ago, he picked The Rock. But no, he didn't actually pick The Rock. He picked The Rock's son, and then his son gave his dad the power. Like, I don't care. I mean, it's just the same thing as the Shazam movie, if you think about it, except they could have shared the powers, because in the Shazam movie, they share the power. I don't know, whatever. You got a little annoying kid who really likes super... You know what? No, Freddy was not annoying in the Shazam movie. You got a kid, you know, he's annoying in the Black Adam movie, but he serves the same purpose. You got a kid who's obsessed with superpowers who can help the lightning wizard gifted power character learn to, do something. Guys, I heard the upcoming Flash movie starring Ezra Miller is going to feature Quintessa Swindell's Cyclone. Oh, in Black Adam, there's a scene where he has to escape an underwater prison. Low key, is Black Adam going to show up in Aquaman 2: The Lost Kingdom? This all but confirms the appearance of Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate in the upcoming fucking whatever, Blue Beetle, I don't know. God, this shit's so dumb. This is so dumb. Ben Affleck's gonna be in Aquaman too. Oh, no, he's not. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that this movie has been in production since like a decade ago. Why? Why? I don't think, the weird thing to me is that back when they casted The Rock in this role, he was not on his like level of stardom that he is at now. Back in the day, I know this isn't true anymore, but back in the day, if you put a wrestler in like a movie, it was almost guaranteed that was because the movie was like shit garbage. So, I mean, I guess the writing was on the wall because it was kind of in production around that period in time. I mean, The Rock was in The Game Plan before this, which I made a video about. Go watch that. But yeah, he was in Disney original movies, not blockbusters at the time he was casted in this. The Rock really isn't even a good casting for Black Adam. Like, if you read the DC comics, you would know that doesn't really make sense. Like, he barely even looks like Black Adam, let alone the fact that Black Adam, there's kind of some stuff going on there. So it's like, why would they have casted him like this in the first place? It didn't make sense back then. It never made sense. And then they held on to this for fucking 10 years, dude. Movies get canceled after being in production hell for a year, and somehow this thing saw the light of day. And for what? For nothing. It was so uninteresting and uninspired. Just frustrating. It's funny, like with Deadpool and Wolverine, there's been that little resurgence of popularity for the Gambit character and for Channing Tatum, who really was holding on to Gambit for a long time. And that movie was also kind of in development hell around similar times. And I mean, I remember being in freshman year of high school, being excited for Gambit to come out. That movie was getting marketed, and then it just never happened. And now that Channing Tatum has gotten his little thing as Gambit, he's being like celebrated, and he's really grateful, and it's a whole thing. Whereas The Rock is not going to be celebrated for finally getting Black Adam to fruition, and that's even more stark now. Whereas Channing Tatum got a final chance gifted by someone else, The Rock clawed his way into Black Adam so that he could make the most boring movie of all time. Yes, I know the movie was directed by that dude that made the fucking shark movie with Blake Lively, but like, let's be for real here, guys. This is not a movie directed by a director. This is a movie directed and made by a committee. That's really clear. If this dude is a good director, I don't know. I thought the Blake Lively shark movie was pretty boring. I haven't seen anything else that he's directed. Let's see. Oh, he directed The Jungle Cruise with Rock, that horrible movie. Great. He directed Unknown, starring Liam Neeson. I haven't seen that, and I don't plan on it. He directed Run All Night, also starring Liam Neeson. Yeah, I won't be watching that either. So yeah, I mean, this is not. I don't know. I'm not gonna be too mean to this guy. He's getting a check. Okay, no, I'll say it. This to me, like, this filmography really reads like a director who comes in and like he clocks into the 9 to 5. I can't imagine. This is so mean, and I could be wrong, but like, I can't imagine that this guy is thinking about his movies before he's on the set. That's the vibe I get from like filmographies like this, like all these shitty 50% Rotten Tomato like action movies. There's no love. Hey, Jonathan Banks was in The Commuter. Might have to tune in. The GOAT.
Walter. Put your dick away, Walter.
Okay, let me do a quick sidebar and give some positives to this movie because, like I said, there is a little bit to enjoy here. There are some interesting moments in the action. Again, as a standalone scene, ignoring what happens after, the lambasting of the Justice Society is actually like a really effective scene and did get me excited in the theater. Like I said earlier, I did kind of like the Justice Society. I thought all 4 of the actors playing these characters did well with what they were given. And I would actually have liked to see them get another chance, but obviously that's not happening. At least for 5 years until they show up in a multiverse project. Cyclone checking for Atom Smasher's breathing was fun. It's something that Ant-Man didn't do. The joke about dying of electricity was funny.
I'm not that kind of doctor. But don't worry, I can see the future. This isn't how you're going to die.
How do I die then?
Just stay away from electricity.
Wait, what? I'm an electrician. How the hell am I supposed to do that?
The costumes are really good. And in an era where superhero costumes have started to kind of decline, yeah, I like these costumes. They're great. Okay, that's enough nice things. The hierarchy of power in the DC universe did change. This movie that was nothing but a beg for scraps killed what it wanted to revive. They gave the keys to Mr. Co-writer on Scooby-Doo and Marvel Guy, who I'm sure will do an infinitely better job of respecting these characters than the people that were handed the keys prior. Maybe someday we will see Noah Centineo's Atom Smasher again or Aldous Hodge's Hawkman, but I'd imagine that that's pretty unlikely. And honestly, like, that sucks, dude. Imagine, I keep bringing up Noah Centineo as if he's the most important part of this movie. And you know what? To me, he is. I love To All the Boys I've Ever Loved. I love Drew Gooden and Danny Gonzalez's videos about Swiped. I'm a Noah Centineoer. I love that guy.
So, you're gonna show me how you squirt or what?
Show me how it squirts. I love that guy. Great guy. Maybe. I don't know. But no, imagine being him and being like, oh, I'm evolving from the rom-com guy to being like a blockbuster star. And then you're in this and you fucking kill a cinematic universe. Was there even a red carpet event for this movie because of COVID? Or hold on, I gotta look this up. I should have looked this up before recording. I'm sorry, but Black Adam red carpet. So the actors did get a red carpet. Well, that's nice for them because they deserve it. As much as I'm hating on this movie, like I said, the 4 that aren't The Rock did good things with their characters, and it seemed like it did feel like the actors were kind of trying. Besides, it didn't feel like The Rock was trying, which I guess is the disappointing part. And this has happened to other actors now with, Sasha Cai's Supergirl from the Flash movie. And to an even more severe extent, Leslie Grace's Batgirl, who astoundingly got fucking removed from existence for tax cuts, which is just insane because how are you going to say that movie is unwatchable and then release Black Adam and The Flash? Only time will tell, but if these actors do not return, if nothing comes from this project, Black Adam will cement its legacy as a failure to jumpstart its young actors' careers, a failure to take hierarchy of power for the DC universe to The Rock, a failure to revive a dying cinematic universe, and a financial failure for the studio. Nothing but failures. And the true, most real failure that a piece of art could have, it is not challenging, it is not interesting, it is not worth watching. And for that, Black Adam is the worst superhero movie of all time. Because at the very least, something like Morbius or something like Daredevil can be watched and seen as these garbage things. Whereas Black Adam isn't that garbage. But somehow that makes it worse. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I might sound crazy, but that just makes so much sense to me. Because for all Morbius is, right? They were not fucking trying. But with Black Adam, they were trying, dude. Like, they were. Like, nobody that was making Morbius gave a fuck about Morbius. But clearly, people, thought that Black Adam was going to be good and was going to do something. Like, they were marketing this movie like crazy, dude. And nobody cares. Like, it was so lame. This is mindless corporate slop that has truly mastered the art of being something that only exists to set something else up. No, Atom Smasher will not be returning. No, we will probably never see The Rock's Black Adam again. And honestly, thank God. I will go the rest of my life without watching this movie again, and for that, I'm happy. I'm upset that I even saw this movie in theaters. Black Adam is the worst superhero movie of all time. It did nothing but destroy what it wanted to save. Guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out this one as well. Stay tuned. I'm going to have some interesting stuff coming out. Until then, have a great day or night.